right, good morning. I am on my way to check on my highest elevation snow account, and I can tell you right away, it's not going to need to be touched. But this has been a year of elevation. Here we go. There's not too much on the ground here either. But it seems like the further in elevation you go, the more snow you get, especially this year. That holds true any time really, but this has been the year of that. And I'm just checking in on her right now, and all the neighbors' driveways are black. And let's come up to this account here. This is the account in question right here, and look at that black driveway. Perfect. So all the customers I have are really close together. She's about 350 feet in elevation higher than everybody else, pretty much. So this has been such a light winter. I've only gone out a few times for everybody, but she's been probably double everybody else, not just in salt but in snow as well. So there's been times where I've gotten rain and I'm only, I don't know, 10 minutes away at most, and she's gotten 4 or 5 inches of snow. So if you're in this business, that's something to be especially mindful of, and you got to check your accounts. I was on the way home from the gym, and she's not that far of a detour off, and I wanted to make sure that her driveway was clear and taken care of, as it's just want to stay on top of it. It's Saturday morning. People aren't really going anywhere. The roads are pretty quiet, but it's snowing now, but it's people are going to see the black roads, and they're going to go out. So it's just something you really need to keep on top of. But you can see driveways are all black. I mean, there's probably not more than an inch of snow here anyway, but the snow's coming down at a good rate. It's definitely snowing pretty good. It's supposed to taper off in the next couple hours. Kind of a bummer. Forecast was all over the place. They didn't really know what to expect. But we're in the downslope of the Catskills, so not in the Catskills, in the valley. But a lot of times the mountains kind of block or lessen the amounts in certain storms. So that this storm was kind of a perfect example of that, where if you just take a 20-minute ride, a half-hour ride across the river, that I've seen reports of 7-8 inches of snow, and here there's nothing. There's really nothing, and it's 32 degrees right now, the car says, and but it is what it is. I was hoping to get this one in early next week. I don't want to jinx early next week, but I'm really, really hoping to get one more in, because it's been such a light winter. But that's a very important point. That's why you need to have all your contracts need to be a little bit different. Don't just do per pushes. Don't just do per storms. Spread them out. I have about half of mine are prepays, seasonal prepay. One price up front, 1 to 100 inches, or whatever. And that's the price that they pay. And there's been years where it's like this winter, and unfortunately, probably for some of them, it's probably like $200 a plow for a driveway, which is, you know, unfortunate. But then there's other winters where it's just storm after storm after storm, and the next thing you know, it's when you do a math at the end of the year, because you kind of base it on the average snowfall with some padding built in, you know, to make sure that, you know, if there's if there's seasons where you're moderately above the average, you account for that too. This is weird. We were just like, I've been going downhill, and I mean, it snows. I don't know if the camera picks up, but it's a weird little storm we got. But it's a nothing. It's an absolute nothing. It's enough to make the trees look pretty, and that's about it. But what I was saying before is you really need to factor in, you know, your costs, what it costs you in fuel, in time, in maintenance. You know, even if your plow doesn't break, you know, anticipate a breakdown, anticipate, you know, a cutting edge. That's $1,000 right there. Fuel, diesel fuel is over $5 a gallon still. You know, you gotta put those costs in, kind of base it on how many storms you think you're gonna have, what the average snowfall is, and go from there. I'm not even gonna bother checking on the rest. If she's good, and I've driven by, I don't know, 3 or 4 of them. If they're all good, then everybody's good. I'm not gonna bother doing the route. But yeah, it's seasonal. On the back end, you also want to get, if you have a crazy winter, you also want to have a mixes of the per pushes, or per storm, or however you want to do it, because you could have, let's say your seasonal average is 50 inches of snow a season, but then you could get, you know, a season where you get 80, 90, 100 inches. You could have double, and you want to make sure that you're not hosing yourself on these seasonal contracts, and, you know, you want to be collecting bank at the end. One thing I don't do is seasonal salt. I don't really have a ton of salt customers, so salt is just per application, even if they're seasonal. And my seasonals, here we're going back up a hill. You can see, I don't know if you can see, the trees are all pretty, but the road is black. Perfectly fine. This is a pretty steep hill. Camera probably doesn't pick that up at all. But it's pretty. That's pretty. That's about it. No money to be made today, unfortunately. But you want to get those seasonal. You want to get those a mix. So if you do get seasons, like for me, the 20 to 21 season, we got about double the average annual snowfall. So, and luckily I didn't really have any seasonals, so those were all per pushes, and I made out extremely well. But then I started to the following year and this year, whatever, added more and more seasonals. Now I'm about half and half, which is pretty ideal, because you don't know what the winter's going to bring. As much as they predict, you know, it could be the best of all winters, it could be a total bust. And it's also nice to have that money up front. You just got to be careful that you don't run out. But if you have that money up front, you know, that's nice. It's just nice to, you know, pay for, you know, if you want for let's say it's hard with supply chain stuff right now too, but like if you have all that money up front, that would be at the end of the year, the tax year, and you can, if there's equipment available for you to purchase, that that could be write-offs at the end of the year, that you have money to go towards that. November was by far my best month revenue wise in 2022. It beat out every month by 3 or 4 times, and that's because leaf cleanups are a lot, and then everybody was also paying for the or not everybody, but half were paying the prepaid seasonal. So I started by my smallest driveway. I have somebody I feel bad, but you gotta make money. I have, and that's actually a little harder, so I don't really feel bad, because it's a lot harder to do than it is to do a longer driveway. But I have one of these HOAs that it's like a 2-car driveway. Maybe you can get 2 cars on maybe you get like 4 cars in there total, but it's really small. There's no place to put the snow though. But like even something like that, that's it's $500 for the season. And then you want to factor in too, I got out of an HOA that required sidewalks. There's another HOA around here, so I switched. Basically same thing, but one, the HOA does the sidewalk, so that's beautiful, and I'll just shovel a step. Kind of want to get away from the shoveling, but the shoveling is good money. This year, real quick, because I'm almost home. This year, and you can see where I am, so that's 300 feet lower in elevation, grass. We got a little bit of snow, it's snowing right now, but it was, it's either it's too warm or whatever. It still says it's 32, but this is all grass. This is somebody walking, but that account there is hold on one second. All right, sorry, resuming the video real quick. Actually, I got turned around, but this house I do. The driveway is actually on this block, but obviously there's no snow. But I'm just gonna circle around because now I'm this way. But that's one of the plow markers, and that's UPS or somebody must have hit that. But it's good to check on your accounts, even when you're even when you think that by you there's nothing. 1 mile up the road is a completely different story here. This is absolutely nothing. There's no snow. It's snowing now, it's snowing currently, but there's no snow. And then on the same long block, not this little cul-de-sac, but on the same long block, it's a completely different story. Not on the driveways today, but it's happened before, where you on the same street, a mile down the road, not even half mile, you could have a completely different story. But anyway, try and diversify those accounts, and yeah, and good luck to everybody. Stay safe. Try and sprinkle in some salt. Oh, real quick, what I was gonna say about the shoveling this year, shoveling is no longer a flat charge, so it's no longer $15 to shovel a walkway, or something like that. It's basic. It's a per minute charge, so per hour charge. But I charge per minute with a 5-minute minimum, and it's $2 a minute, so $60 an hour. Excuse me, $120 an hour to shovel. So that's the price to get out of the truck. But you know, unfortunately, even though the customers, you know, signed the contract, they're, you know, I explained it to them, but then this winter they forgot. You know, I had an older guy reaching out, you know, why is, you know, one storm it was one storm you charged me $10, and you know, how come I'm getting a bill for 15, you know, or it was 14. So I'm like, you know, it took a few extra minutes to shovel. It was a heavier storm, you know, per the contract. And, you know, then you don't really hear back. You know, you say it all nicely, but, oh, can't please everybody. You'll learn that real fast, that you can't please anybody. But I am home. Good luck to everybody. Hopefully there's snow by you to plow, so you could plow that snow and make that dough, as Mr. Fullerton says. Peace.